he has ever been on, and he's been proving it on the stage. And we actually have some replays from their semifinal matches.
And you can see here in this matchup against G2, again, Gangstar's just so incredibly strong, even coming through on heroes that we weren't expecting them to be able to play necessarily to the highest level, but wrecked on this Grumpjaw, helping to set up Xenotech and Iraqi Zoro for all these plays. And the Crystal Kestrel, just, I've said all season long, I think Kestrel is one of Xenotech's best heroes, and he showed that it is still a devastating force to be reckoned with in that semifinal.
Yeah, I mean, Gangstar is really just pulling through in this series against G2. I mean, they de-seeded the first seed from EU, right? We're actually going into a grand finals that doesn't include either first seed from either region, and Gangstar's being that fourth seed, they really showed us how to take control over a game. They took it 3-0 even, so feeling strong coming out of that match.
And I think that's a really important point that you bring up there. Neither first seed is here in a game that is going to decide one of the teams that will go to the World Championship. That is a huge statement in itself, just the fact that neither first seeders make it after all of their success throughout the regular season.
And that just goes to show, it's kind of been the overarching story of the entire season that we talked about a lot during the regular season. The skill gap between these teams, the level of competition in Vainglory has risen so highly now that not even the team that shows the steady top performances throughout the season, you know, they aren't necessarily always going to be the best team on any given Sunday.
No, absolutely not. Well, I think we're done with the yibba yabba for now. I think it's about time that we get this final underway, and if we want to do that, we're going to have to introduce our teams. So let me welcome to the stage our first contenders.
Please welcome, representing North America, the number 2 seed, Cloud9!
There they are, Cloud9, hoods up. They looked incredible on stage earlier. When they beat TSM, you could see hugs all around. They were over the moon. And it was Best Chuck NA that said it himself. Whoever won that series could go on to win the whole tournament. They've got to be feeling that. They've got to still be pumped from their last games.
Absolutely, and that's going to be one of the difficulties, is getting yourself to come back down to earth so that you can prepare for Gangstars. But you saw the support they have from their coaching staff, from their management. I think they're going to be able to do so.
Yeah, if they're going to do this, this is their opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, we see them kind of going all the way to the top. This is potentially old school's chance again to claim a victory. He's yet to do it. So we have to imagine the amount of adrenaline pumping through his veins and Joseph's veins, and Gabe Vizzle just so much focus on this team to come into this finals and take it.
It's all been leading up to this moment, and as you rightly said, they have to settle themselves down. They have to make sure that they're going in at a decent level. They're not going in already at that massive adrenaline high that they will obviously have left the TSM game with. They've had a few minutes to settle down while we had that update, and hopefully they'll be able to go in on a level playing field with a calm head. However, both of these teams, they really had to pull out a lot to actually make it to the finals here today. Do we think that they're still going to have extra things up their sleeves here?
I don't necessarily think they need extra things up their sleeves, considering how successful many of the things they played were. In a best-of-5 series, you often just come in and you play something you're comfortable with right in the beginning. You kind of test the other team. But, you know, I do think C9, in this specific setup, they showed they were the better aggressive comp team against TSM. Yeah. When they played a little bit of the slower one in game 1, they faltered. So I think this is kind of their comfort zone right now. And
that's something that we had been wanting to see from Cloud9 all season long. They had gotten a reputation over the 7 weeks of Vainglory 8 play for being a slower-paced team in North America that waited for the end game, waited for the fact that they could just win a fight and then close out the game. And it bit them a few times. That's why maybe they are the number 2 seed as opposed to the number 1 seed. But they were able to fix that issue seemingly in the time between the end of Vainglory 8 and now the Unified Championship.
Now, we know for a fact that C9 and TSM have been scrim partners, especially at this event, but also leading up to this event. So it was clear in those games that C9, they had TSM's number. Beyond that loss, they seem to know exactly what to do against these TSM compositions. Do we think that this is maybe more scary territory for them. The fact that they're going against Gangstars, a team that they probably don't know quite as well.
Yeah, I definitely think it plays a factor into it, but at the same time, if you're C9, you're confident right now. You're coming into this knowing you just took out your biggest opponent. And I think C9, I mean, I know these guys, I know the team. They're already looking at the trophy, and they're just kind of needing to look over the heads of Gangstars, and they're going to try to move them out of the way so they can grab it and hold it above their heads.
Well, you mentioned Gangstars. It's time to introduce our second contenders, our other finalists, Dons in black and gold. Let's meet them.
Please welcome, representing North America, the number 4 seed, Gangstars.
There are the Gangstars, truly the dark horse of this tournament, coming all the way through to the finals. And it all stems from that Hammers versus Immortals game. Their path through to the finals was completely warped from what was expected, and they have done a stellar job to get here today. And today's performance has been their best yet.
And I just love watching them make that walk down the walkway every single time. You know, it's Iraqi and Xenotech looking stoic and, you know, very straight-faced, and then wrecked on the side with a little, just a little hint of a smirk on his lips every single time. So confident of a player.
I think that's Wrecked in a nutshell, right? I mean, I don't want to harp on it too much. He did say EU was easy, right? And you've got to have a bit of humor about you to say something like that. And in the end, turns out it was, right? Turns out they could get the 3-0.
for him.
Yeah. I'm not sure he would have ever lived that down had they lost the series earlier on today. But yeah, Gangstars, very, very strong team and a very confident team coming on into this one as well. And I mean, just looking at the roster, we were talking about it earlier. Every single one of these players can step up to the plate, and I think Wrecked is the one that we're going to be keeping our eyes on in this game, surely. After the performance from our captains in the last series, you've got to have your eyes on the captains.
Yeah, it really do. I mean, we showed that it was Xenotech and as the player to watch for Gangstars earlier, but at the same time, like you said, all three of them really kind of are the player to watch. It's the finals. Well, you have to keep an eye on every single matchup because all three players need to perform at the best of their ability if they're going to be able to win in a match like this.
Yeah, and we've seen across this tournament all three of them carry games, and it's a similar story for Cloud9 as well. This is not a team that you can doubt their mechanical skill. You can't doubt their coordination either. This is truly going to be an exceptional game, but I feel a lot of it is going to be decided in the early portions of these games.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at Cloud9, which is arguably, like we said, if they are at 100%, they're better than TSM. It's just, are they going to be? They proved they were. If they can come into this series at 100%, I think they'll beat Gangstars as well. It's one of these things where Cloud9 will want to take control of the early game and show Gangstars how to play Vainglory in consistency. That's always been the question mark around Gangstars. When they show up, they're huge, but they have had some stumbling blocks this weekend.
Yeah, they certainly have had some stumbling blocks, and certainly there were series where it felt like maybe they were falling apart just a little bit. I mean, their series versus Team Secret, even though we just saw C9 versus TSM, I honestly think the Secret versus Gangstars was an even closer series, an even more intense series. If they can keep it together long enough, I honestly think Gangstars are in with a really good shot at this. But in that series against Secret, there were games that it really felt shaky for the squad.
It did, and part of it was sometimes the draft, some of it was just execution, but I think we need to focus on the draft. We've been saying this a lot this weekend, but it's because it is so important on the current meta. The draft can decide games, and at this point of the event, we're on day 3. Gangstars have played all 3 days. How much do they have left hidden up their sleeves? They've had so many games that they've already had to bring out multiple different things. Is there anything left secret that they can keep from Cloud9?
Yeah, and not just secret in terms of strategy, but also how much is left in the tank. You know, these two teams have been through a lot this weekend. Yeah, exactly. Like, they've been through a lot. There's been a lot of adrenaline, a lot of hype going through them. That drains you. I mean, I'm drained just being on the desk watching these games. I can't imagine what it's like actually playing.
I mean, Gangstars was, what, one team fight away from losing in the semifinals against Team Secret, and now they're in the finals trying to prove themselves for the entire tournament. But, you know, it is that story. We talked about some of those struggles against Team Secret did come from the fact that I'm the Doom was having a bit of trouble himself, really being the impact that he wanted, and Gangstars took over that. But Joseph's another story. He's not someone that lets up. He's not someone that typically underperforms. And with this Rona pick, with this aggression coming out of the jungle, Gangstars might have had to rewrite a few of their strategies going into today.
If I'm not mistaken, Iraqi Zorro was also playing Rona early in the tournament as well.
He did, yeah. He played it as a carry a bit earlier, and he did really well. I mean, we saw that really amazing highlight where he did the 1v3. Like, he knows the hero. I think one of the mistakes TSM did perhaps was just not respect the power of Rona enough coming out of Joseph through their draft, and I can't agree with Bacon more. I mean, this is going to come down a lot to making sure one of these teams gets on those power picks that can have an impact in the early game.
Yeah, and honestly, going into this grand final, I don't think the power picks are the same necessarily as what we thought they were going to be moving into the first stages of the tournament. And also, Gangstars, they've yet to meet this Batiste pick, right? And they love Koshka. They adore playing Koshka. We could well see that Batiste captain pick come into play again and see whether Gangstars can weather that storm. Yeah,
I mean, like, so Von C's Koshka specifically was one of the most undefeated Koshkas of all time in competitive play, and C9 shut that down.
Yeah.
So bringing into this draft, if Gangstars picks up Koshka, that's a bold move from them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we also have to look at going into this one, the previous history between these teams this season. They met 3 times in Vainglory 8. Cloud9 was victorious all 3 times. However, 2 of them were the full best of 3s, so Gangstars can at least take games off them. It's not... I think, honestly, Gangstars are probably very happy that Cloud9 beat TSM because they did not have a single win against TSM all season long, so maybe a little bit of relief for Gangstars coming into this one with a team that they at least have a proven history of being able to pick up games on.
I mean, you say that, but I would argue that this Cloud9 is just stronger than the version of TSM, so maybe it's actually even scarier. Grumpjaw going to be the first ban as we are into the draft, and Koshka taken off the table as well. So the 2 best aggressive junglers immediately wiped off the table.
Yeah, I mean, they're safe bans, right? At this point, it's kind of... Grumpjaw and Koshka can have so much impact on either side of the equation, and Gangstars has showed a lot of Grumpjaw. I wouldn't call it a reliance on the pick, but they definitely have proficiency on that hero.
And once again, we see that C9 Adagio. He's even wearing the C9 colors.
And it's been such a proven pick. If Old School has Adagio, chances are it's going to be a victory for Cloud9. So it's just a matter of, are they going to put the Adagio onto Old School once again? They do often actually flex it down onto Gabe Vizsla as well. So the rest of the draft is really going to determine that.
So Lyra locked in for Gangstars. Unsurprising so far. A healer on
signature
either
heroes
side.
For each team as well.
Absolutely. And now moving on towards this second ban phase. Fortress taken away after the prevalence of that in the last series. I can't say I'm all too surprised.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to take Fortress away because of the way it plays around Lyra. It's actually a really good counter to things that Gangstars might want to do. And it also, yeah, the success rate was just too good. Like, they don't want to face this duo invade composition from Cloud9 anymore.
That's a number I love right there, seeing the 0% ban up until this game. It means it is purely just a respect ban against Cloud9 because of how strong they were with it last series.
And honestly, Fortress is definitely one of these picks that was kind of being hidden until the very, very important games. We barely saw it throughout the tournament, and then once it got to these semi-finals, suddenly it's everywhere. 63% win rate as well on that one. And now Cloud9 taking a while over that ban, but they've settled on Blackfeather.
Yeah, going into this second portion of the draft phase here, I think the Blackfeather is smart simply just because Gangstars has showed so many ways that they can kind of flex the pick, and Blackfeather honestly in lane right now is considered a top tier carry, especially when you have the Serpent's Mask and the Poison Shiv. Teams actually think that it's almost unstoppable. So I definitely like the respect ban coming out of Cloud9 there, just making sure Blackfeather can't get on top of Old School's Adagio, because Adagio suffers when Blackfeather starts scaling up.
Yeah, it really does. And like you said, having the Poison Shiv on Blackfeather, it's such a good item for him. So making sure that that will not be the case. We've seen a lot of strong Blackfeather play from Gangstars, but now where are they going to go with this pick? It will be the Kestrel, likely for Xenotech.
Yeah.
Again, comfort picks are going to be the name of the game for this series.
And especially for game one, right? You want to go in comfortable. You want to be testing the waters here because realistically, both of these teams, unless they've been scrimming, they haven't played each other in quite some time. You've got to go in cautious on game one. Glaive going to be locked in on the side of Cloud9, getting that aggressive jungler to go against the Kestrel.
I really like the Glaive pick here, and I think Gwen specifically could also be another response. Typically, Gwen, if they want to flex Adagio into that captain position, Gabe is one of the best captain Adagios. Okay, they are going to leave it on old school.
Okay.
They're going to go with the Arden, which is a bit of a priority. I like this. There hasn't been a ton of Arden play specifically from North America, so Cloud9 bringing it out here is actually pretty positive impact.
Yeah, and it's a pick that, again, puts the Adagio then into Old School's hands in the lane, which, I mean, again, you have the best Adagio player in the world, arguably. Give him that hero. Let him try and go off. Having a Glaive to set it up with the Arden as well, that is a big combo. If they can land a CC train onto someone with the Gauntlet, the Afterburn, and a Verse of Judgment, they're dead. There's no question about it, but here comes the Rona again.
We mentioned the lane Rona. It looks like Araki Zoro willing to take the challenge on this one. That means, look at that win rate. Yeah, 71%. That is an insanely high win rate. And we're going to be seeing that coming into action in this game, but we are out of time on the desk, gentlemen. It's time to head into our first game of our grand final. We'll start with you, Fuji. Who's going to take this?
I have to say for game one, I have to go to Cloud9 simply just because they came off the high momentum of TSM, but it could go either way. I
went against Old School's Adagio once. He made me eat my words. Not making the same mistake twice. This one's going to Cloud9.
So we have two people going for Cloud9. I feel like Gangstars are the underdogs in this one. Let's pass it over to Ex-Scoundrel and Humanist to take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the finals of the first Unified Western Live Championship. On one side, Cloud9, on the other, Gangstars. You have debatably the most talented team as far as mechanical ability for Cloud9. On the other side, Gangstars, an organization looking to return to their former glory. This is insane hype. Ex-Scoundrel, can Gangstars return? Can Cloud9 take this finals?
Gangstars play like they have been playing all weekend. This will be a close series. This will be very, very close. But this is Gangstars riding a wave, and this wave has to end somewhere. C9 are mechanically better. They team fight better. They have better early aggression than any other team in this tournament. This will have to be Gangstars entering another level. I am unsure if they are capable of it, but they have impressed me so far, and I am willing to be impressed again.
Oh, the only team from day one to make it this far. It's incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, the battle has begun as we have loaded into the Halcyon Fold. So let the games begin as we have all players making their way out onto the map. Both teams rotating as a unit, not looking to be caught by surprise early. C9 will be moving into the right tri-bush of Gangstars. An early afterburn. Xenotech knocked back. That's the catch release squishy, but they're going to drop Joseph. The first blood in a return kill. They are starting off lightning quick here. This is, we expected them to come out swinging, but I didn't expect 2 kills immediately. Old School forced back and so low already.
I definitely expected the early aggression from Cloud9 because of the Glaive, but Gangstars played that really nicely, wrecked with a great sigil placement, making it very difficult for Cloud9 to position after the afterburn was used, and all you needed was Araki Zoro with that foe splitter to start wailing on a target, and actually first blood goes Gangstars' way, so there's a net gold gain for them in that situation.
Oh, both teams just on a knife's edge as far as that fight was concerned. First blood, of course, the benefit that you would like to have there. But now, we're going to get in the situation of rotations through the jungle, early game farming, and the laning phase of this game. Let's see how it's going to play out. Flares come out of C9, K-Bizzle moves forward. It looks like Xenotech was able to grab it. Yes, he will. Active cancel.
Oh, the cut stun!
Xenotech firing up here. We do have the drop down from Araki Zoro. Gets the damage out, finds the kill. 2 kills now for Gangstars.
It was so crucial that Xenotech got that because he gets level 2, active camo, double stun, and what a rotation from Araki Zoro. You can tell this team is communicating at another level right now because Araki Zoro was on that incredibly quickly. C9 trying to be over-aggressive. Yes, they've got
Gabe, this.
I know, that was cheeky. That was cheeky.
Yeah, only the best captains are going to get in there, be able to steal that away. Right now, though, this is a dangerous situation. Old School taking a lot of damage. Boots backward, trying to get into a better position. He's going to drop the heal, but Rek trying to find the kill. Rek's got it! They're going to lose Arakizora as well. Both these teams trading, just as they did to start. Xenotech, the Glimmer, not enough, but he drops down. They're going to find Rekt as well. Can they chase this down, Scoundrel? It looks like this is going to be a very close one here. We're watching, and this is the after. Remember, the Vanguard buys him enough time. He's in there. He's got it! How about a twisted stroke to finish it off?
So, I Love Joseph coming through again. Low energy on Xenotech right there. Wasn't able to start using those Glimmer shots. And unfortunately, Arakizora took too much damage at the start. Arakizora is key to these early trades. You need something that's going to be able to duel with the glaive when he commits. And Arakizora going down very quickly there left Xenotech very exposed, and without that energy was unable to trade back in damage. A CP Kestrel with no energy is practically useless, and he also wasn't able to get that active camo off for the same reason.
Definitely, and that's why we see the batteries picked up so early. Often with these CP Kestrels, we'll keep our eyes on Xenotech's items as we do move forward here. What a tense situation. 4-3, 3 minutes into this game. Absolute fireworks so far. Currently, we're going to see Rekt moving up into the lane. Xenotech does reveal himself by starting to get some basics off onto these lane minions, looking to apply some pressure. Now, this is something that you mentioned in the draft. Maybe this could be one of those compositions where we see Xenotech, Rekt, Araki trying to apply that lane pressure, but Blaze moves up. They find the stun. Bright Bulwark a little bit late. Rekt boosts himself back. He's burning down. Joseph finds the kill. Araki taking a lot of damage out of the fray as Glimmer shots coming through from Xenotech.
I think something that a lot of you will have noticed right now, and it's very important to mention, the weapon power glaive is so crucial compared to the CP glaive in this particular composition because it allows early aggression versus a CP Kestrel, which is key to putting CP Kestrel under pressure. Xenotech, again, this is what I mean.
A really good point in the afterburn's there. The damage is there, and I Love Joseph finds another kill. You know, the debate about who is the best jungler in North America has been going on forever. Joseph really making a case for himself here.
I think the analysts are right. Joseph is playing the performances of his life right now. Gets the back camps just before the Crystal Sentry comes through. But that just exemplifies what I mean, Humanist. Having a weapon power glaive in this situation means you can put pressure on a CP Kestrel. You can limit her power spikes by delaying them. She won't be able to run away with the game. And suddenly, Gangstars with a Lyra, their siege becomes a little worse because they haven't got those power spikes with the Glimmer shots. They haven't got that massive amount of damage that they can wail onto Old School in lane. And now I Love Joseph is putting pressure on again.
Joseph up again. He found Xenotech. Oh, he's crit down. That's the kill. They find another one. Joseph, 5 kills. We're not even 5 minutes into this game right now. He's trying to pull a Xenotech. Let's see if he can continue on this trend as C9 up as 3 in the lane. They're going to start to pop onto this turret. Araki forcing them back out of the fray.
Oh, Joseph's
there. Joseph gets it. Rekt doing his best to defend this turret. He will thwart off the aggression, but this will be mids and forwards taken away.
And I think what's really, really important to note is I think C9 are one of the only teams in the competition that can pull off a weapon power jungler like this. They're the only one that, you know, you don't have many laners right now that are proficient on CP laners.
Right.
Old School's proficiency on a CP Adagio means that you open up a whole school of other picks that you can bring into the jungle, and having I Love Joseph...
Old School gives you the whole school,
I know, right? I Love Joseph bringing this weapon power glaive to the table allows them to do what we know C9 does best. Super aggressive early, giving I Love Joseph a carry role in his own right, celebrating the mechanical prowess of this player. And you can see it already working out leaps and bounds for C9.
I mean, sometimes Tasty Bacon sounds like a broken record, but he's like, if there's an Adagio, I want to see it on Old School, and for good reason. I mean, this guy always shows up when he's given this pick.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to say, given I Love Joseph a very aggressive early jungler, this is what we have seen from him over the years. I Love Joseph was known, when I got into Vainglory, I Love Joseph, when I got a brief down from Playoff Beard about I Love Joseph, he goes, this guy is the most aggressive jungler you will ever see. And he's certainly showing those colors right now, Humanist.
Phenomenal play. We see Xenotech moving up. There's a lot of aggression onto that turret. They're going to force back, but the turret's going to drop down. Joseph, defensive afterburn. Looks like we're going to cancel off the aggression. One shot not connecting. C9 able to get out of that one clean.
My worry here for Gangstars is there's going to be a fight.
They're right back in. That's the gauntlet, and that's the kill. Wreck is down. There was no fountain. Xenotech dropping low, and Iraqi Zoro as well. Triple kill for Joseph. 9 kills, 6 minutes, 45 seconds into this game. This guy, he's trying to set records.
Ace already. C9 have come to the final, and they are here to fight Humanist. This is exactly what we expected from them. And already, the early prowess of this team that we know can go this hard this early on. Let's have a look at this replay. Again, perfect gauntlet from Gabe Bizzle. It stuns up Rek, makes it very difficult for him to actually function in this team fight. And then I Love Joseph comes through. Obviously, when you have a free pass as a weapon power glaive onto a CP Kestrel, you will decimate her, and absolutely shown there.
A free pass onto the castle. I think Joseph would take that any day.
Not even a free pass, he's got the whole book right now. He's like, oh, I take all the tickets.
Whole book, whole school, they're taking it all right now. They are taking names. This is phenomenal play thus far. Impressive stuff.
I'm worried for Gangstars. Not only how far they are behind right now, but I'm worried compositionally because of this the weapon power glaive coming through. You know, you can't really use Iraqi Zoro to the best of his ability. You can't really pressure Old School that well because you're going to have to peel back for that CP Kestrel because of this lead that I Love Joseph's got right now. So this is going to be kiting backwards for Gangstars. Now you can do that with the Lyra, but then when do you ever turn the engage round? When do you ever find that re-engage? If you're trying to do everything kiting, when do you ever find the re-engage that you deem necessary? Because obviously if Rona then jumps in, all it's going to have to be for Cloud9 is you Vanguard back on I Love Joseph, then you turn on to Iraqi Zoro, who's committed. I just think in general, C9 have had the better composition here.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the way you explain it makes sense to me. I think the same thing. Like, if you are going to go in, what happens? Old School stands his ground, throws the verse, gauntlets down, you're surrounded. Afterburns, it's such a dangerous situation.
And also there's 2 methods to get onto Xenotech. Not only the afterburn, but you have the gauntlet from Gabe Bizzle, and Rex can't block all of them. He's going to face check.
Face checks it, takes a little bit of damage as the one shot will connect here. Full adrenaline stacks as Xenotech does move forward. Iraqi with the foe splitter gets the move speed. Just moving around here, they're going to hang back, trying to keep their nice positioning here. Flares coming out constantly from C9. Gabe Bizzle will not allow his team to be caught by surprise.
So we haven't yet had too much time to talk about the itemization here, but look at I Love Joseph, Lucky Strike picked up here. That is so good for snowballing when you have a weapon power carry that is designed to burst out someone squishy in the backline like Xenotech. Xenotech has had to go a reflex block already, by the way. That is just not good on a CP Kestrel this early. You want to hit as much CP as quickly as possible, which is why you generally tend to see them fill every single item slot with crystal bits or tier 2 crystal items all the way up to the tier 3 crystal items. Forcing a reflex block this early really limits the power of a CP Kestrel.
Yeah, it definitely feels like you do not want to be building defensively on that CP Kestrel. Gauntlet over the wall, how about that? You're going to be looking for the target. Wreck, he takes the arcade passage out. Iraqi trying to find the damage. Xenotech moving back, he can't do it. Iraqi's down. The active camo is Gabe Bizzle. He sniffs out Xenotech, trying to find that stun. It's not going to be enough on the backside. Wreck and Old School, they drop simultaneously. It's like clockwork right now. Cloud9 have Gangstar's number.
If it's like clockwork, C9 have hit every single number right now because it has been insane for them this 10 minutes into the game and they are taking that choke point turret down. I can't even believe it. We thought this was going to be close, but C9 have either been holding something back this entire composition or I just can't even explain it. This is so good from C9 right now. Again, reflex block comes in use here for Xenotech, but again, you know, you're not giving him time to wind up those glimmer shots. You're not giving him time to play from range, which is one of the advantages that the Gangstars composition has. Old School obviously chasing Rekt over to the side here. You have split Gangstars up. Gangstars can't function when they are split up.
Joseph moving around that active camo there. He is so aware of his positioning on the map. It's phenomenal. It's insane right now.
And Gabe was trying to body block everything as well there. He was trying to body block the glimmer shots from Xenotech too, trying to prevent that active camo from even going off. Everybody from C9 is so switched on at this point in time.
Oof. They got us switched on here at the desk as well. Look at the net worth building for Cloud9. This is insane. It is a mountain of net worth. These guys are like dragons sitting in their mountain on their pile of gold. Just phenomenal right now.
And Gabe is picking up the Crucible. It's something that we saw him do against Von C in TSM just the last series. He crucibled so many active camo stuns across the entire team, and there was a crucible of an active camo stun that won them the game and won them the series. So even, you know, with Xenotech not being particularly fed right now, we've got a fight potentially. Rex going in.
Yeah, Rex trying to make something happen here. He drops that charm as well. And the aggression not paying off, but let's see how this does play out. C9 have map control. You can see from the scout traps down across the map, there will be no surprises as Gangstars move forward. Not only the scout traps, but the flares as well. One shot comes out, connects onto Gabe. As C9 move forward, they have the positioning in the lane here.
Exactly, they don't need to commit to the Crystal Miner. They can just walk into C9's base because they have the minion wave, and C9 are either going to have to clear or commit, and they want to do neither. They don't want to get anywhere near C9 at this point in time. Gabe Fizzle might be gearing up for a gauntlet.
Gauntlet's going to come down. Rex stunned out, but he moves back. Xenotech erased off of the map, and now C9 back to business as they're just going to go ahead and push the lane down. What can Gangstars actually do at this point? Cloud9 want to close this game out. They might just go for a turret and back off. We'll keep our eyes on it. First Vein Crystal turret has dropped. C9 looking for maybe an opening to take someone out. They're focused on the turret currently. Red Mist comes out. Iraqi trying to find the damage. Glimmer shots come through. They're dropping damage down on Cloud9. Gabe Vizzle, well, he's just locked onto that turret. That's all he wants. Joseph, he finds the knockback. First is going to come out, connect onto Rex. This is the teams just split apart from each other. Looks like Gabe Vizzle will be left to go ahead and die on the backside here. Is he going to die? Yeah. They'll be able to take him down. Arcane Passage forward. Will they be able to get Joseph as well? Bright Bulwark, a couple glimmers coming through. Joseph's going to stand his ground. Whoa! Joseph just stands his ground, finds the kill. And Old School, can they find this? This would be a very nice turnaround. A lot of net worth for Gangstars to go ahead and recollect here. We're going to see Old School try to make a play. All he can do here. Did he grab those boots right there? He grabbed his boots. He booted forward. That's going to be the end of the fray. He's into the Crystal Sentry safety. If he can just try to buff himself up and get some damage, it's not enough. At the end of the day, Iraqi Zoro will be finding that kill. Still, 16-6, 13 minutes in.
Yeah, prevented the ace as well. They don't get anything from it. And yeah, despite the fact that Gangstars kind of won that teamfight situation, what do they actually get from it? They lost 2 of their Vein Crystal turrets. The Vein Crystal is open and exposed. C9, all they need to do right now is walk right down the lane, force a fight, force Gangstars to come to them. They know that they win these engages. They don't need to mess around on the map anymore. There's nothing they don't need to bait. They don't need to try and set up anything fancy. Just walk straight to their Vein Crystal. They don't want to come to you.
You said they don't need anything fancy, but even though they were ahead, we still see gauntlets over the wall. The plays coming out of C9, phenomenal play thus far. And as far as item choices, I really like to see Old School, what he's done. He's picked up defense here. They're ahead. It makes it so much harder for Gangstars to actually find that damage, even if they get in the perfect situation.
The golden rule of Vainglory is when you are ahead, and you're ahead by quite a margin, build defense. The investment in damage reduction is worth it to keep you ahead of the game. The golden rule when you're behind is build offense and rely on your positioning or opponent mistakes to find a way back into the game. C9 making the correct choice here, realizing defense pretty important to this situation. I Love Joseph has got the Aegis and the coat of plates already, and he's also got that tornado trigger, so huge burst damage. Tornado trigger is the burst attack speed item to pair in a weapon power carry build, designed specifically to punish Xenotech, who will not build weapon power, who will not build armor in his build. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, we saw that earlier, but it didn't feel right on that Kestrel.
Yeah.
Looks like C9 looking for a play, but it's Gangstars who engage. Rek trying to make the play. Active camo from Xeno as he moves back, but look at it, it's Old School. He's going for the Vein Crystal. Xenotech knows what's happening, but I don't know if he can stop this. He moves in. Active camo's going to be down. He finds the stun. 1 glimmer, 2. It's Joseph and coming out here with the Burst of Judgment, and this is going to be the Vein Crystal dropping very easily for Cloud9 as they just move in, take the objective they need to win this game. And Cloud9 one game up here in the finals. A couple fist bumps from a few friends there on the stage. Feels good, man.
They didn't need to do anything. They just walked straight down lane, take Vein Crystal. Like, we talked about it, like how far they got ahead with this weapon power glaive. They had no reason to play in the enemy jungle. They had no reason to try and bait a Kraken down the line. They didn't need to. Gangstars didn't want to fight them. Gangstars didn't want to get close to them. C9 had a complete positional advantage in these team fights. Didn't even need to try and chase them down. Walk straight at that Vein Crystal. C9 can't, or rather Gangstars don't have enough damage to take them down. Easy game, easy life.
Woo! All right, things got out of hand quickly there. I don't know how it all happened, but we have some boys at the analyst desk. Guys, break this one down for us.
Thank you very much, guys. What a way to end it as well. How many times this tournament have we seen a game end by someone just rushing down a Vein Crystal mid-fight? It's insane.
Yeah, that was such a ridiculous performance from Cloud9. I mean, we said Old School on Adagio, but how about I Love Joseph on this glaive? A ridiculous scoreline, 11-3-5. There was one point, it was about 7.5, 8 minutes in, where I looked down and I Love Joseph had the same amount of CS as Iraqi Zoro.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane, the performance that Cloud9 were able to put onto the map just here. Like, where do you go from here if you're Gangstars? When the game actually started pretty well for you, but then Cloud9 just took it into their own hands.
I think the expectation from Gangstars is that they just need to spend more time setting up for their plays instead of trying to scrap. Like, honestly, the weapon-powered glaive is going to win most fights in the early game, and I feel like if any team understands the power of weapon-powered glaive, it should be Gangstars, considering Xeno's performance yesterday on the pick. So perhaps just a little hubris towards Joseph's capabilities of pulling it off. It's not necessarily something Joseph plays all that frequently in terms of the weapon power path, but when paired with Adagio, like, that's a rough game.
And honestly, like, you can see the lifesteal for Araki Zoro as well, but it just wasn't enough with how much damage was coming out from that C9 roster. I do believe we have a replay of that game as well. Bacon, do you want to run us through this one?
Yeah, I mean, this was very early on in the game, and you can see, again, they get the jump onto Old School, but his positioning, his ability to get himself out of the fight allows the team to just stall out, essentially, and they go in, take the kill on Araki Zoro, then Xenotech is just kind of stuck in a bad position. Wrecked, because of how far away Old School was able to get out of that fight, Wrecked ended up having to focus so much attention on trying to secure that kill. He wasn't able to really be there to help his teammates, and in the end, Cloud9 solve what they were able to then do after that.
And that was kind of the point at which Cloud9 started to roll that snowball down the hill. But importantly as well, Gangstars didn't have any energy in that fight. They weren't actually able to properly fight back at that stage. So then Cloud9 were more than happy to just steamroll the rest of the engage. But Koshka, first ban taken away once again. Are we expecting a repeat of the last draft?
I mean, very likely, just considering the fact that, once again, Gangstars did so well with Grumshaw. I would be surprised if Cloud9 lets it go over. I'm not actually sure Cloud9 has any particular pick to be worried about, so yeah, there you go. The Grumshaw ban makes sense.
I'm actually rather surprised that Gangstars are the ones that are banning Koshka on A side, because they could just go ahead and pick that up. But very smart adaptation here, taking the Adagio away from Old School.
Yeah, unsurprising considering his performance not just in the last game, but across the entire tournament. That Adagio has been so close to unstoppable. Now, Lyra, still available. That could easily be his next pick just to try and even things up.
Yeah, I definitely think Lyra could go over here. I mean, it's just such a safe pick. You kind of tend to feel like you need to ban it if you don't pick it, especially if the other team has Adagio. Giving Double Hill over to Gangstars is something they won with twice yesterday in the Team Secret series. So it's one of these things you don't want to let them have it. So there we go. Lyra first pick for Cloud9.
And now moving on towards the bans. Are there any respect bans that you guys feel need to come out in this section?
Not really. I mean, the thing is Cloud9, all the respect they did from before was just figuring out, like, what do we not want to get counterpicked by, right? So when going into TSM, Cloud9 had a lot of specific plans, I think, for what they needed to do for TSM's power picks. But I think in the C9 versus GS series right here, it's more about them just getting a comfort comp and just not getting countered straight out of draft.
Yeah, for the most part, the bans that are coming out are just bans that are just good overall, like, regardless of who's playing them. So I mean, we saw Cloud9 being the ones to have this massive success on Fortress. Now they're banning it away just because, again, they know how strong it is. They don't want to run it with whatever they have in mind here, so they just don't want Gangstars to have the ability to take it, regardless of the fact that the Gangstars really hasn't played it much.
Yeah. Now Vox is going to be locked in for the likes of Cloud9. We've seen Vox have, I want to say, limited success, to be honest, across the tournament. It's been heavily prioritized by a lot of teams, but I mean, you can see it on your screen, 35% win rate. It's definitely felt like Vox has been on that losing side more than the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, this is very true, but it also comes down to the players themselves. Probably the most well-known Vox player in the world is Old School. This was his first, like, primary hero that he kind of rose to fame on.
You could say it's an Old School pick.
It is an Old School pick. This is absolutely true. So there's often times where I don't like Vox early in drafts because he can get bullied pretty easily by counter picks, but the Lyra does allow him to get to that mid game a lot easier.
And just for an idea of how much Cloud9 likes this Vox pick, during the regular season, they picked it 17 times. Their next highest pick was 11 games of play. So a really big emphasis on Vox for Cloud9 throughout the whole season. But there's Finn Blackfeather.
Yes.
I'd love to see wrecked on Finn as well.
Very kind of melee-focused comp. The Finn going to be able to kind of body block everyone as well. We've been talking about how he can negate all CC. Where do you go from this one if you're the side of Cloud9? How do you round out this composition knowing your opponent?
I think Cloud9 will stick pretty close to the meta. So one might argue you could actually swap this to a CP Vox because it is Finn, Blackfeather, Adagio, and they don't split up. Like, Adagio is not going to come in from one angle and Blackfeather from another very often. So I kind of like that idea, but would be surprised if Cloud9 did it.
Not only do they not really split up, but they also have a very easy target to get those bounces off of on the Finn. But with the Sky coming through, Sky is a pick that can go either weapon or crystal. We saw during the season it was weapon more often than not, but recently it's been more frequently crystal. So I have to assume that it is going to be I Love Joseph with the Crystal Sky and the weapon Vox in there.
And we saw his Crystal Sky yesterday. It was impeccable, honestly. I would not be surprised to see that once again. But it's time to get into our second game, gentlemen. Where are we going with this one, Fuji?
I actually think C9 has the better draft. They're going to be able to make it through the early game with this Lyra into the Finn a lot easier. And Joseph Sky was making plays yesterday.
Yeah, I do like the Gangstars draft a little bit more, just by a smidgen more. But I like the gameplay performance we've been seeing from Cloud9 a lot more.
We could be looking at a 2-0 according to our analysts. Ex-Scoundrel and Humanist, take it away.
We find ourselves here in match 2 of the finals. Cloud9 up 1 game over Gangstars. Scoundrel, do Gangstars have a composition where they can start to claw their way back here?
I'm in board with the analysts right now. I think actually C9 have drafted incredibly well, and I've got to say they have drafted incredibly well this entire tournament. Sky, although Blackfeather considerably can do well against her, especially in the weapon power build path, again, she's very good against linear movement heroes because she has that series strike. She can get past, and once she gets Frostburn, she's got incredible kiting. Finn, very easy to stack your Broken Myth on as well. Very weak to both the Frostburn, Broken Myth combo. And especially when you get the Crucible come through for Gabe Bizzle, we know how successful he has been with his Crucibles against even the most hard skills to block.
I think the stat was 88% we saw earlier.
Yeah.
Insane.
And it shuts down the Crucible shuts down everything that Gangstars have for an engage.
All right, well, here we go. How about this? Match number 2. Let's get it going, guys. Both teams making their way out on the map right now. Looks like maybe we're going to have the Blackfeather hanging back on the backside of his jungle here. Not that early 3-man aggression, just throwing blows in the first minute of this game.
I don't think there's any way you want to invade on the C9 composition, but C9 looking like they want to make the invade happen for themselves. I think this is good. You have the advantage early on, that range advantage, incredibly good against both a Finn and a Blackfeather early on. Really like this from C9. This aggression will be warranted.
Well, they will be able to take away the mid from Gangstars. A nice tool for them early. It will help secure the Elder Treant as well.
Looks like Gangstars are shoving that lane. This is the best response you can have to a 3-man invade. If you can't get to their backs easily, just shove that lane in, try and put pressure on their laner. Old School will return in time, though. Didn't think they were given enough time. The back invade didn't come out from C9 either. They just secured that mid. And actually, it's a good start for C9, but it's a bit of pressure onto Gangstars early. The siege from C9 is amazing as well, by the way. Triple ranged. The kite potential of this team is incredible. And Bright Bulwark, if Blackfeather commits, will separate him from the entire team from Gangstars. I think C9 have won this in the draft phase.
I get tilted off the face of the earth when I'm playing a Blackfeather into a good Lyra. Gabe Bizzle, I would expect, will be dropping those Bright Bulwarks on time, on point through these fights. Now, Cloud9, let's see if they're going to go for a little more aggression, take away some more camps. And it looks like this should be the mid going their way. Rex on the backside, he knows what's going on. Polite Company not going to be able to steal that one off. Once again, Joseph going to be able to grab that region.
Pre-6, this triple range is going to be fine into Blackfeather. You just walk up to him in the jungle, you put pressure on him. Obviously, he's only got his A to commit to you in terms of distance. When he gets 6, it's a little bit harder, but then you do have the potential to kite with the Frostburn from I Love Joseph. Gabe Bizzle, like you said, those Bright Bulwarks and the movement speed boost from the Sigil, excellent for kiting against something like a Blackfeather. And like I said, Crucible shuts down the only reliable way of engaging that Gangstars have. I don't know how you chase a triple range composition as Gangstars. How do you make that happen? War Treads is going to be an early consideration you have to feel for Rekt.
Yeah, I feel like it's more like they have a very strong pivot point around the Finn, around the Adagio. Not so much great for chasing unless you're executing targets and the fight's going your way. But it feels like that would be a mistake.
But if C9 are smart, which we know they are, which Maybe not.
Right, pull right down. You know they are. Quibble's going to come down, pretty good damage, but Old School's dropped.
Oh,
They reversed
Xenotech.
it. Xenotech is done. He's the first blood going the way of Cloud9. Now, Rekt, he's got target lock on him. Joseph chasing forward. He's going to go down as well. 2 kills to Cloud9. When they turn it on fast.
See how difficult it was for Gangstars to follow up on that engage right there. Everybody from Cloud9 started moving backwards. Forward barrage came down. Old School using those stutter
Surrey
steps.
strike over the top. He's got damage, but a little bit caught out here. Drops the forward barrage and gets himself out of there. I like that he canceled that forward barrage very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. C9, no, they're not done yet. They want to continue this aggression, punish the Black Feather pre-6.
Yeah, you can't allow Xenotech to start grabbing regen and thinking about being able to fight you. Now that's going to go the way of Gangstars, and actually Xenotech able to pick that one up. It is so incredibly important that the regen is going the way of Gangstars there.
And look at all this aggression. Old School joining for 3-man rotations, and he's still got a 10 CS lead on Iraqi Zoro. They are having their cake and eating it right now, C9.
They don't call him Gold School for nothing.
No, they don't. So I think, you know, to expand on what we've been talking about, humans, I am worried that if Gangstars don't get a hook, they lose every fight every time. Because if you try and run at this C9 composition, they will laugh at you. They will pop Bright Bulwark, they'll pop Sigil. We've got maybe an engage here, but I think Xenotech's thinking better of it.
Yeah, I think these guys are a little focused, too focused to be laughing, but maybe they'll do the laughing after right now. It almost feels like they're going to need a bait on the side of Gangstars, but will Cloud9 put themselves in that situation moving forward? Hard to say. The play thus far in this championship has been phenomenal out of Cloud9. Not a lot of people actually gave them the credit. Everybody knew this was going to be a great team. Now, Rekt, he's been caught here again. Target lock, the forward barrage coming through, a Surrey strike, and that will be another mid going their way. These guys, I think they've gotten the last 3.
Yeah, I mean, but there's no way for Gangstars to punish them right now. Like, you have to rely on Cloud9 walking into melee range to be punished. You have to get hit by a Quibble or being brought close enough to get Polite Company to do some real work. Because C9 can keep range right now, and Gangstars can't do anything about it.
Well, minute by minute, moment by moment, we will have Rekt getting these levels, getting that experience. When he gets to level 6, he'll have the Forced Accord, as you mentioned. But then past that, the level 8, so incredibly important.
Absolutely. The key point as well, with obviously level 8 giving you the stun on the Quibble, and Forced Accord at level 6 will be the one moment in the game where Gangstars might be able to pull the trigger and find their way in. That will be no Crucible finished for Gabe Bizzle, although he is working very closely towards it. If Gangstars can get level 6 before Gabe Bizzle gets Crucible, which isn't looking too likely right now, but it could be a situation that occurs, they might be able to pull the trigger and force an engage onto C9.
Oh, they can't even protect. Crystal Sentry down. C9 looks like they want to pull the trigger and go in here. The flare's coming out. They don't want to go in too deep at this moment. Joseph maybe tries to take away that back there. He's going to think better of getting in too deep. Rekt with a Polite Company. C9 looking to take the backs away. They're going to go ahead and get those.
And Gabe Bizzle with the cheeky Sigil to get them out at due key course speed as well. You also have to realize here that as C9 move in, they can afford to take a little bit of punishment. If they overstep a little bit to get a good forward barrage off, overstep a little bit to get Old School within range of basic attacks, they always have that get out of jail free card of the healing from Gabe Bizzle right now. They've got so much room for error, and trust me, they are not making many errors, but they have got so much room for error with this composition that Gangstars have to be playing pinpoint perfectly, abusing spikes at the right time, finding flank positions, trying to catch Gabe Bizzle off guard for Crucibles when Rekt gets level 6 to actually find their way even for a potential to win this game.
Big wave, and it's got a minion candy here. Let's see how this fight goes. Wait for it. We'll silence out Xenotech, but nothing quite to follow, as Iraqi Zoro's going to have a little bit of trouble farming out this wave here. Going to give C9 time to make a clear decision on exactly where they want to move. Joseph, once again, trying to take away the mid, and he's going to go ahead and get it.
Gabe Bizzle very close to having that Crucible finished. It looks like Rekt's nearly hitting level 6 right now. It'll be whether they're in a healthy enough position to pull that trigger. There is already a reflex block for Gabe Bizzle. He could block it himself and not get dragged in here, but I Love Joseph and Old School are really the key targets for them. I Love Joseph should be able to Surrey strike away, and then Old School will have to try and use his Sonic Zoom.
Now, if you had the choice, if you're the Finn, which of those targets would you prioritize if you can only grab one?
Sky, because of how mobile Sky. I think because of how mobile Sky is, you can always. I think actually it's far easier for Black Feather to chase Old School down because Old School's got a very short dash that is again a linear dash, which is kind of going in the same way as Black Feather. Both of them are linear dashes. Obviously, where Sky has this kind of 360-degree mobility with that Surrey strike. I think I would be prioritizing I Love Joseph, take him down, and then you can allow Xenotech to try and chase Old School. That would be my initial impression about how to approach this. But, I mean, Gabe Vizzle's got Crucible, and Rex only just hit level 6. This is the one item, I think, that was the complete shutdown for Gangstars. And knowing how successful and how on point Gabe Vizzle is with his itemization and use of items right now, I think it's going to be very difficult for Gangstars to find their way in.
Well, perfect timing. Gabe Vizzle completing that Crucible as Rex gets this level 6. Right now, Cloud9 is in rhythm for this game, exactly where they need to be.
The one out, I think, for Gangstars right now is if Rek turns around and says, okay, I'm going War Treads. War Treads right now, it gives me some sort of in with the team.
Okay.
I accelerate both the Rakizoro and Xenotech, and we be aggressive because we want to get in there, deal as much damage in a short space of time as possible, and take out one of the C9 members very, very quickly. If you allow C9 to reset a team fight, get the kite going, get the Bright Bulwark down, get the Sigil down, you know, Gangstars is going to get eaten alive.
Yeah, there's so much slow potential coming out there that I mean, if you overextend for a second, they can turn it around. Xenotech eats a lot of forward barrage damage. I mean, even without the target lock right there, Joseph just pummeling through the health points of Xeno.
Old School obviously got his Sora Blade Poison Shiv. Now that's going to make it easier to kill Xenotech, who's got a little bit sustain with his own Poison Shiv. But obviously, Xenotech is relying only on the Poison Shiv for his sustain. Obviously, Old School has got multiple areas like that Sigil, obviously coming through from Gabe Vizzle.
Xenotech, they've made the call to go in. I don't know if this is the call, but they're going to be able to sustain just for a second. They're going to lose Xenotech. It's backfired for these guys. And now Araki, he's completely isolated on the backside, tries to take an Arcane Passage through, but it's too little too late. Gangstars have lost too.
The problem with Gangstars, they had to make that call. At some point, you have to try and force an engage when you have the opportunity to. Otherwise, this is exactly what was going to happen all game. It wasn't wrong for Gangstars to make that call. The problem is that they probably needed to do it a lot earlier and not be so punished early in the jungle. But how do you stop that? My word, Finn goes down as well. Wrecked, knocked off.
Yeah, Rek doing his best to keep this turret alive, but Cloud9, too much damage, too much mobility. And once again, we see that 88% success rate on the reflex block coming out of Gabe Vizzle. You know, we've said it time and time again through the seasons. This guy, one of the best when it comes to activating that item. It's just insane stats.
Let's not forget what this means to Cloud9, Humanist. You've got Old School and I Love Joseph, respectively, two of the best in their roles in the world. Neither of them, I believe, has won a live championship before, especially Old School. I know that is 100% true for him. If they win this series, not only do they get themselves a world spot, they get themselves the live championship that they will have been craving since the start of their Vainglory career.
Absolutely.
This is a massive, massive series for them, and they have brought out all the stops.
With every movement across this map, every kill, every gold miner taken, Cloud9 find themselves one step closer there.
Absolutely, and that's the one goal, but it gets stolen by Xenotech though. Xenotech comes in with the on point, and every gold mine, well, the Gangstars have taken one small stepping block, but I think that's a stair that I think C9 will be very happy to skip. They will take a double stair up and continue moving. It's a very small comeback for Gangstars. I still don't think it's enough compositionally though, Humanist.
Oh, that's exactly the kind of plays we need to see Xenotech making. If he can land those cheeky steals, if he can get in there, find some executes onto key targets, exactly what Gangstars need. Now, he does have a level 8 infusion timing out here. A little bit unfortunate if we see pressure applied in the next minute here.
Absolutely. When you buy an infusion early on, you need to be forcing team fights around it, and I think that's what he was trying to do earlier. He bought the infusion. It was very important that they searched for a fight to get an advantage. It feels so bad. I think that SK will be the first to tell you. It feels so bad to invest in early infusions and then lose the fights anyway, because it's basically wasted gold at that point in time.
We see Rek constantly moving around here. He wants to keep his motion unpredictable just in case he wants to throw a forced accord out here. Cloud9 currently moving as a unit once again. Old School sitting on his own infusion, completes the breaking point. What does this mean for the Vox to have BP completed?
But it's not only the BP, but Joseph's got his Broken Myth as well. So suddenly, Finn is one of the easiest captains to stack on. Finn is so slow. You combine that with a Frostburn, it's so easy to stack Breaking Point and Broken Myth on him. So he's a really big target, a really big hero model, and C9 should very, very easily be able to hit high damage outputs in these team fights, especially when kiting.
All right, well, Rek's level 8. You see him start to find these area of effect stuns. Rek having a little bit of trouble trying to survive through this, but he's holding his fountain, has the Atlas. Atlas lands onto 3 of Gangstars. You got to be careful here. Cloud9, they're very close to finding the kill. That's going to be Gabe Visible to block off on the Force to Court. Once again, we said it. He blocks it. This guy, it is so hard to land these abilities onto C9.
Not only that, you've got Old School and I Love Joseph with their own respective reflex box now. So if the stalwart of Gabe Vizzle fails, you have the mechanical prowess of Old School and I Love Joseph to back up as well. There is literally zero way that Gangstars find the engage that you need. You're right, obviously right, you do have to be worried. Rec's gone Journey Boots on the Finn. Rec's gone Journey Boots on the Finn to increase his mobility. Obviously it gives you the most mobility on an item in the game in terms of increasing your base mobility. And obviously it's got a very short cooldown. Instead of the War Treads, it's more crucial that he feels that he gets into the fray, because obviously Xenotech has the ability to follow that up. It's more crucial for Rec to get in there to use Quibble. He wants to use those Journey Boots to get that Quibble onto key targets, and eventually through basic attacks try and reset it to keep that mobility up. I actually like that potentially more than War Treads.
Well, it makes sense to me, and we also see him starting to stack up a little bit of shield here as well. Good damage coming out. Rec trying to move backwards here. He's going to be able to get out as Goldmine starting to go down by Cloud9.
They should be able to secure this one. No cheeky steals coming from Xenotech this time round. Again, Vision completely dominant. Something you talked about in the last game, by the way, Cloud9. It's almost gone untouched because of how quick these games have been, but Gabe Vizzle, despite everything else, has been keeping insane vision control of the central area of the map, and that is so important, especially against compositions where one of the major flaws for C9 would be face-checking a brush and doing all of the hard work in terms of engaging for Gangstars. By keeping this vision level up for C9, they won't have that mistake to make. You know, they can just literally say, okay, we know exactly where Gangstars are on the map right now. We're not going to make the face check mistake. I think that's one of the only ways that this goes wrong for C9. If they walk into Finn and he makes a Quibble without even having to use his Force Accord, it's one of the only ways this goes wrong for C9. Got to be honest, the drafting team behind C9 has been fantastic this week.
I completely agree with you. It's insane what Gangstars are going to have to do to try to find the win here. And as we zoom out on this map, you look at the vision that's coming out as far as those scout traps across the map. You talked about the flares and the danger of face-checking a brush there. But there's no way that Gangstars actually move out onto the map to get in position to surprise C9 in the first place.
Exactly. You literally hit, I didn't even need to do the analysis because you hit the nail on the head right there. I've got to be honest though, Gangstars, they have this sort of very early aggression that they've had from Xenotech all weekend long. And you're going up against one of the most aggressive junglers in the game. There was only going to be one result when you try and match up two incredibly aggressive junglers, but I Love Joseph is the OG aggressive jungler. He knows exactly how to play these early minutes, and that's been so crucial because Gangstar has snowballed really, in a lot of cases they have snowballed from those early minutes.
Dangerous situations as C9 look to apply more pressure. This turret very close to going down here. You can see Joseph abusing the range out of the sky, and this is something that we don't see all Sky players do, and he does it almost better than anybody.
Literally, and they are literally, the range is the buzzword for this composition right now. The range advantage they have on Gangstars is the main reason that this is going wrong for Gangstars. Like we said, Gangstars just cannot commit easily. They can't deal with how easy it is for the C9 composition to kite, and the range advantage means that it's just almost impossible for Gangstars to even defend against sieges. Let alone the fact that they have got very poor wave clear. The siege from C9, because it's a triple ranged, is excellent.
Excellent siege, excellent team fight capability. Rec's gonna move forward, he's looking for a target. Quibble onto Old School. Can they find the damage to follow though? The Atlas balls are landed as well. They block off the Force to Court. They move back. It's Xenotech on the front line, but he's melting. A two-man Quibble out of Rec. Old School and C9 able to move back as a group. They're gonna go ahead and recall back to base here. That was about the best engagement we've seen out of Gangstars.
Exactly. That was the perfect way to try and start a fight here for Rect. He jumps in with the Journey Boots. He did exactly what we talked about when we talked about the Journey Boots being selected. Gets in to get the Quibble down onto a key target so that he doesn't have to force the Force Accord to make the fight happen. But I have to give credit to I Love Joseph there. That Suri Strike onto Old School's position, followed by the forward barrage, kept Xenotech at bay. The Frostburn started doing its work, and then they started to kite properly. I Love Joseph knew exactly where to position the Sky right there to protect his team. Did an excellent job of it. Look at Rect though. Because of how threatening the Sky is to a Finn, this is a classic Rect build, by the way. Double shielding on top of the fountain shielding. This is something that Rect pioneered last year. He was kind of the guy that was doing this at the North American Summer Live Championship.
And this is particularly good on Finn, right?
Yeah, absolutely, because it shares those stats with the team when you use Polite Company. So obviously that's fantastic. And they seem to perceive, obviously because of the range that Sky has in the Frostburn, they perceive I Love Joseph as the biggest threat here. That's the most damage that they are trying to protect themselves for. It also means it's likely the target that they want to focus as well.
Now there's a nice scout trap actually down in the Kraken pit right now. I really like the Gangsters have that down. Cloud9 gonna hope to clear that one out. Flares coming out from both teams as they look to keep their eyes on their opponent. C9 moving forward, Joseph, forward barrage from range. We'll see if Rex is going to look for a force to cord or maybe one of those boots in for the Quibble. He's going to actually boots in. He's looking for the Quibble, silenced up. Mortal Wound applied as well. He's using that Polite Company, trying to frontline. Force to cord blocked off. Once again, Gabe Vissel coming through clutch for his team. Rex melting low. Can they find the damage with Xenotech? They're all going down so low. I don't know if Xeno can do it. They're down. That is going to be the ace here. 8-0. 18 minutes into this one. Cloud9 just on a tear.
And look at the way that C9 play these team fights. They all group up. They move as a unit. They utilize the fact that the Frostburn makes it easier for everybody to kite. Gabe Vizzel's Bright Bulwarks at the right time make it very difficult for, to be honest, a very slow team to move through an already impossible moment. Everything that C9 has done has been right this game. Humanists, they're going for the win.
They are splitting these turrets down perfectly here, keeping that the respawn timer as perfect as can be. Now can they get the damage onto the Vein Crystal turret as Gangstars try to make their last stand? Gangstars stand to Finn. Cloud9 take the Vein Crystal, and they are up 2-0 in this finals here. Feels good to be a Cloud9 fan right now.
Absolutely, Humanist. I have never seen such perfect execution in such a high-pressure situation. C9 have looked dominant. Gangstars have not even been on the same page, let alone the same book as C9 right now. It is a complete schooling from these guys. They have looked insane every step of the way. Draft has been on point. Execution has been on point. Notice in that game, unlike, we know the aggression from C9, when it came to team fight situations, they never looked for the engage themselves, because obviously that would be doing the hard work for Gangstars. By using the Lyra portal and trying to engage, you are doing everything that Gangstars want you to do. So they played that range advantage, they used the poke, and then eventually, when Gangstars made the engage, that's when they kited backwards. This was a pure masterclass in kiting from C9.
Masterclass, Master 2-0 at this point for Cloud9. But my friends, over at the analyst desk, what happened here? 8-0, how did they do it?
That is going to be my question as well, Humanist. One stolen gold mine away from a perfect game from Cloud9 in the grand finals. Can you believe that they are putting on this crazy performance?
If it weren't for the fact that we've seen grand finals be dominated like this in the past, I would not be able to believe it. This is an incredible showing from Cloud9, just dismantling Gangstars here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan, once again, of the C9 draft, and we talk about just bringing the mobility in, using the early game pressure, and just being able to push Gangstars back, and that's what they did. I mean, like, what a clean game, and this is just C9 stating, once again, we beat you all season for the most part, and we're going to continue doing so here.
So we do have a clip ready of that game as well. I believe this is the final team fight. This is Cloud9 putting that final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, and you can see 18 minutes in, only 5 kills in the entire game, but look at that huge Surrey strike from Joseph to get himself into position. The force to court comes out. Of course it gets blocked because this is Gabe Vissel we're talking about, and they're able to then just turn the fight completely. The positioning from Joseph over the wall, Surrey striking back in once he sees the opportunity to find a kill, and they clean up the ace and go on to take the crystal.
Honestly, team fighting perfection from Cloud9 right there. And at that point, if you're a Gangstars fan, you've got to be nervous going into this next game because a reverse sweep is the only remaining option for our guys in black and gold. They've got their work cut out. Is there a way for them to come back into this one? Is there a draft that they can pull that will somehow save them?
I definitely think they need to put more focus on getting something that wins out of the jungle in the early game. I don't think anything that scales is going to be a good idea. Like, the Finn pick, it just wasn't effective at really keeping anything safe. And honestly, like, Araki on the Adagio is just not something they've had a lot of success with so far in the tournament. I want them to do more about the early game.
So be more proactive, really get in the face of Cloud9, really get up in their grill. But that's always going to be difficult when you're against I Love Joseph in the jungle. It's so difficult to get any kind of advantage against this guy.
Yeah. And now, what do you do if you're Gangstars with this ban? There's Adagio, Koshka, Sky. I mean, so many power picks for the side of Cloud9. You can't ban all of them. It's just a matter of kind of trying to take the lesser of two evils at this point.
And also, you can see that that is really weighing on their minds, already biting heavily into that bonus time. And it's going to be a Lance ban coming out first, which, you know, that really shakes things up. Where are we going with this one?
It must be something specific that Gangstars is setting up for. I mean, normally a Lance ban, especially like this early in the draft, is not common. I also think getting rid of Lance might even open up C9 to be first picking Koshka here. I don't feel like, okay, so they go for the Adagio. They still think that's the stronger, but just not really scared of Gangstars on Koshka.
I think this is why Gangstars did that Lance ban, because Lance is a counter to Koshka. They pretty much knew Cloud9 were likely to take the Adagio. They take the Koshka, they ban the Batiste, so that's two of the strong counters that we've seen to the Adagio, or to the Koshka, now taken off the board.
Yeah, I like this from Gangstars. This is innovative drafting, and it could be their shot at victory right now. Adagio in the hands of Cloud9, that we've talked extensively about how good Old School is with that Adagio, and the Fortress ban coming out from Cloud9 as well. What do you do if you're Gangstars right now? How do you bolster this Koshka pick?
I think you want to make sure that it's something that can actually allow Koshka to go and dive in. Like, you want to stay away from anything that's slow moving. Like, Finn would be not the right option here for them. Arden, obviously available. If you pick it early, you do kind of show your cards, though. It lets C9 more complete their draft. But it is something that I don't know if Gangstars really feels like they have a specific laner that's a priority for them. Like Baron, I don't feel like has been working out for them really well, so that's also very risky.
I think they almost need to take Lyra here.
Yeah.
You can't... giving a double heal possibility to Cloud9, even though Cloud9 haven't really run it, that's still super, super dangerous against a Koshka, because Koshka's all about the burst. If you just survive that burst, you get the healing, but it's going to be a glaive.
Well, we asked for early aggression from Gangstars, and that is exactly what we're getting with this kind of composition. We could see that double heal come on through for Cloud9. I'm having flashbacks to Krull right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised to see it. The only thing that maybe makes sense is the fact that if you picked Krull A side with a double heal for C9, you already do see Koshka and Glaive, but Krull is a hero that I Love Joseph has played quite a lot, and not just recently, over the years in themselves, so this Arden is an enabler coming in. It's interesting that Cloud9 is not prioritizing perhaps the double heal in this draft, because they just don't think Gangstars is also going to pick Lyra, but they could put the Glaive in lane, pick Lyra up in the jungle, so it's a bit of a risky draft. But I like the fact that it's got some unique pulls to it. There's the Rona.
Yep. So this is a very strong draft from Cloud9. This is what we've seen them run already.
Yep.
And so they're just saying, hey, we've made this work before, we're going to do the same thing again.
And one of the great things about this Rona pick as well is they've already banned away Fortress, right? So you don't have as much initial removal of that lifesteal, that healing, but Vox is going to be the final pick. This is a very aggressive composition coming out from Gangstars. But looking at these two drafts as we head towards the third game in this grand final, how are we feeling about this one? Can Gangstars come back into this series? We'll start with you, Bacon.
Not with Old School playing Adagio. It's not going to happen. I think this is 3-0 Cloud9.
Yeah, I think the Arden combination with Rona in the jungle is really going to stave off the Koshka aggression, so I have to go with C9 as well.
C9 is what we're saying on the desk. It's time to get into the third and potentially final game of this entire tournament. Let's pass it back to our casters.
Well, you hear it, our analysts, they are in the corner of C9, but Gangstars with their backs against the wall. This is a dangerous situation to be in. Can C9 grab one more win here, Scoundrel?
I think they've been plating the fold, white and blue, all series. It's the final touches in this game. C9 look on another level. They took out TSM, the undisputed North American champions, for at least the last 6 months. And they took them out in incredible fashion. And now C9 are one win away from securing everything that we hoped that they would achieve at the start of this season, Humanist.
Absolutely. I mean, the gameplay has been intense. Both of these teams back and forth. I'm really a fan of this draft here.
Absolutely. Like you said, Xenotech been so good on Koshka right now, but we're on to the fold.
We are on to the fold for match 3 in this final series. Scoundrel, if Cloud9 can take this game, they are going to be our first unified champions. I can't imagine the emotions going through their minds right now.
How must Old School and I Love Joseph be feeling to be this close from confirming themselves as some of the best players in the world after so much heartbreak over the years? Finally being so close to securing their championship. They start off, as they start to go on, it's early aggression from C9 again.
Now this is one thing that I think Rekt does almost better than anybody. Let's see if he can steal one of these camps away. He does try to do it with the Afterburn, but he's holding these boots. And if he can get in there, he can always get out with those boots. He's not going to be able to steal away that Elder Train or the mid. C9 doing a good job to take an early advantage on this map.
Yeah, and they weren't able to push that lane in too hard, so Old School won't be punished to a mega extent. Gabe Vizzle is here to back up his lane partner as well. Remember, one of the remedies or one of the major win conditions that we've seen C9 achieve has been when Old School has been facilitated. Old School has been the guy getting ahead.
Absolutely.
And they have really helped him achieve maximum potential. But I Love Joseph has been on fire this entire series. Gangstars are now moving to put pressure onto I Love Joseph here. Won't be too hard, though.
Yeah, they're going to do their best. They take away the backs. They're going to get a little regen, but a lot of damage coming out. Boots used by Rekt to get himself into a better position. Araki drops down. Pulse out here. Sonic zooms forward. They're on to I Love Joseph here. Old School trading with Rekt and Xenotech out to the west side of this fight. Can they take Rekt down? He's burning from that gift of fire. I don't know if they're going to get the chase because Araki's there as well. A nice scout trap giving them the vision they need. Now Xenotech, you're caught in a bad place here, my friend. Twirly death. It's just a matter of time. Tries to get the back, but he goes down. Even the backhand goes the way of C9. First blood here, 2 minutes in to Cloud9.
But Gangstars should be able to return with getting this mid tree on as well. Rekt and everybody dancing around. They did get a couple of back camps also, but First Blood worth so much gold at this point in time too.
I tell you, these Elder Trains, Rekt almost going down to that Elder Train, and that is such a dangerous situation. Now, Xenotech has been phenomenal through this whole championship on the Koshka. I think he caught a lot of people by surprise. Can he execute on it here?
Well, he's had a good start, but obviously giving up First Blood wasn't ideal. Got a couple of back camps here, but if you're looking for a combination to shut down early aggression from the Koshka, you pick the ultimate weapon power duelist, Rona. I always feel like Koshka is kind of the ultimate melee CP duelist. Rona is the ultimate melee weapon power duelist, in my opinion. So they kind of go toe-to-toe in that respect. And especially when you added the shielding and the movement speed, Rona suffers from one thing: mobility after using from Into the Fray. Arden remedies that. That's all that she needs to give her the sort of success to win. So I really like the way that C9 have brought that combo into this final game, or potentially their final game of the series.
Potentially, exactly, Scoundrel. And you know, one of the things that is going to do so well in Cloud9's composition is going to be countered out by an item that Araki Zoro is now building up. Poison Shiv is going to be a great item for him to pick up here, and a very smart choice. Of course, we would expect Araki to do it, and he's executing here.
The one thing that Cloud9 is suffering from in this draft is that they only have a limited ways to chase down Araki Zoro easily. Once Into the Fray and Gauntlet have been used, that's pretty much it. So if Araki Zoro can get past that, if Araki Zoro can get peeled by Rekt past that point, suddenly Gangstars had the kiting potential. It's something that we saw C9 execute on last game, but Gangstars have brought it out in this game, with Araki Zoro probably going to remain fairly safe unless obviously C9 are making massive engages and he can't get through that gauntlet wall or gets caught out by and Into the Fray very early on. So there is that potential for Gangstars here. The problem is that Xenotech generally likes to be aggressive on a Koshka. That's kind of how Koshka is aimed to be played. When you're trying to peel with the Koshka, it doesn't really work so much. So it's kind of a blend of styles from the Gangstars composition.
A blend of styles. Xenotech, he's going to go ahead and buff up his auto attack, so that's Twirly Death. Joseph jumping forward. He's Vanguard up. That is so scary. I mean, if you see most Ronas in a rank queue buffed up with a Vanguard jumping at you, is one thing. But to see Joseph buffed up and jumping at you is terrifying here.
So the one thing I don't want to see Gangstars do this game, despite the fact that I think unless they get ahead, they will do it, is trying to make the engage onto C9 because
damage out, and the moment that Rekt goes in, it's just reverse aggression. They're so fast.
Exactly, the counter engage if Gangstars are the ones to engage is so big. That's why I want to see Gangstars potentially allow C9 to do the engaging and then play around Iraqi Zoro on this Vox and try and kite it out. If they make the move and go aggressive with Xeno and Rekt, they are giving C9 an easy time with this Rona and this Adagio, who are, despite into the fray for Rona, fairly low mobility otherwise, right? Obviously, Gabe on Arden will actually sort of accentuate that, but realistically, I think Gangstars can play around Iraqi Zoro this game. I think they can actually play the kite game and try and bring C9 to them. That's maybe where I think their win condition lies.
I think it's very interesting to see Iraqi's build thus far. He thinks he does not need the boots, so he's not going to go for that. Rekt, he moves forward, he finds Old School, knocks him back, but a nice Vanguard coming out with a fountain keeps him alive. Xenotech really wanted that kill. They were so close to finding it.
And thus is the power of Arden, Humanist.
Is the power
so
of Arden.
Good right now. Arden is an excellent captain at keeping those carries safe. Not only do you provide that shield or a fortified health for him, and obviously you then give it the movement speed, which allows him to get at those sticky situations even more readily. Rekt, actually, interesting tidbit. When we talked to Rekt about his captain choices, he thought Arden was terrible. To get schooled by an Arden in potentially a championship game is pretty huge.
Yeah, well, maybe he goes back to the drawing board on that one. Obviously, Rekt able to accomplish so much with so many of these captains. Arden maybe not one that he's preferring right now, but something that Gabe Vissel has found success on here. And we see Gabe Vissel level 5. As we get closer and closer to him hitting that level 6, he's going to get that gauntlet. And when that comes out, if there aren't reflex blocks ready to go and you're caught inside that gauntlet, it's lights out.
Especially for Iraqi Zoro. He is the key member that needs a reflex block more than anyone here. He is the key, I think, to this Gangstars lineup, because obviously Xenotech hasn't found the early aggression needed. Now you have to think about where this game is going to transition to, and I definitely think Iraqi Zoro will be the key. C9 probably going to be wanting to send I Love Joseph in, get a Gift of Fire onto him, and then obviously use the Agent of Wrath as well to deal as much damage to Iraqi Zoro in a short space of time. That's what Gangstars need to avoid.
All right, this could be the fight that we're looking for. Wait for it's going to come through with the silence out. I mean, Captain Frenzy coming through, but Old School pulls up for the verse. It's going to connect. Gabe Vissel's dropping very low. He stays alive through it. They've turned onto Iraqi. They found the kill. Xenotech down as well. And with this kill onto Rekt, that's going to be a double kill for Old School. And the ace for Cloud9.
Another ace, and it's exactly as we said. If Gangstars make the easy work for C9, they get the counter engage. You play right into the Gift of Fire, hitting multiple members. That is not what you want to do against this C9 composition, Humanist. Guys, we'll look at the replay. Okay, here we go. Xenotech goes in. Suddenly, look, Old School has already done work with the Gift of Fire. You played exactly into the red mist. C9 had to do nothing. C9 didn't need to use into the fray until the end of the fight. They didn't need to use any of their gauntlets or anything like that to try and force the engage. It obviously Gabe Vissel wasn't level 6 yet, but you did, you did the easy work for C9 there. Exactly how C9 did against Gangstars last game. Gangstars just allow C9 to come to them, but unfortunately, if you give C9 the advantage in the early game, C9 will just win through pressure on global objectives, and then they'll force things like Goldmine and force Gangstars to make those moves. So, you know, it's a difficult situation for Gangstars to be in right now.
You know, one of the things I think, as Atlas Polvzern picked up here for Gabe Vissel, one of the things I think he does best, obviously, not only with his activatables, but his item choices. He picked up a Dragon Blood contract, and this isn't an early pickup, but something that he decides he needs for his team. Just giving them that extra little bit stick when they go ahead and proc off that Dragon Blood contract. I really like it.
Absolutely. Obviously, it gives them great single target focus. Do you know what target they want to focus?
No.
Iraqi Zoro.
You tell me! You tell me!
If they can get that damage onto Iraqi Zoro, it's huge. Actually, wow, here we go.
Wait for it. It's going to be coming through. Iraqi trying to kite back. Crystal Sentry going to try to get it with him as the gauntlet is down into the fray. Over the top side of that as he starts to spin with redness. Xenotech dropping low, and Xeno is down. It looks like Crystal Sentry should be falling as well. Rekt wants to keep it alive, but he just can't do it.
You've got to feel for Xenotech in these situations, Humanist. He has had such a stellar performance, the performance of his career throughout this weekend. And right when it counts, has been under the thumb of C9.
Rekt going trying to make the play just a little too late. He leaves himself out on an island here and should be able to chase him down. It felt like they should. Cloud9 making the smart decision. They're going to let it go. They have better things to do on this map right now.
Yeah, Gabe Vissel also, like we said, you said he picked up the Atlas Pauldron's is pretty decent against Koshka as well, because she does sometimes rely on basic attacks to get that damage down, especially with the twirly dead, but obviously really good against Iraqi Zoro, who is going the double sustain build, by the way. Double sustain build designed for kiting. Not really designed to do anything else. You can't play the old style of Vox here, where you build a couple of Breaking Point stacks, then suddenly Sonic Zoom onto the target.
Oh, the good old days.
The good old days of Breaking Point Double Tyrant's Monocle. This is a build specifically designed to kite as much as possible to out-sustain your opponents. Maybe Gangstars have realized that this should be their win condition here with this particular pickup.
Feels like a bit of a conundrum that they might find themselves in if they're trying to kite back, but you got a Yomi Catnip Frenzy in onto a target, locking Xeno in place oftentimes. And we saw him just get melted in that last engagement. Old school. He's infused up with Joseph here, very important.
Yeah, they're going to try and utilize this spike to pick off something like, you know, a team fight, another turret. Obviously, with this tier 2 turret having taken some damage already, this should be an area that C9 look to focus to make these infusions worth it.
C9 pushing their advantage as they apply pressure down the lane. Wrecked, dropping those charms. He loves it. He does it more than anybody here. Now Joseph is going to drop onto this turret, getting very good damage out. This is the objective they want. Into the fray. He jumps out. He's into the Lotus Rift with a red mist. And Gabe Vizzle tanking for his team. He self-fountains there, but keeping himself alive, he still has this gauntlet, which is a huge tool for his team.
It looks like Rex might be trying to bait as well. He still has the fountain available to him. He's going to use that life spring when out of combat to regenerate as much health as possible. That is a big item available here for Gangstars.
Rex knocks Gabe Vizzle back, so the red mist in, turret's gonna drop, they're taking a lot of damage, Xeno's down, they're looking for more, Rex is down as well in the gauntlet, Gabe Vizzle staying alive, Iraqi trying to stand his ground, the first is gonna come out, they do get one, but they're going to lose the Vox in the end, and an ace here for Cloud9, up 8-1, and now onto this choke point turret.
Iraqi with no reflex block, locked in there with the C9 roster, and that is excellent use of those infusions. 2 turrets, already more gold than they have spent on infusions in their favor. Going to get a replay coming up. But let's have a look exactly what happens here. Rekt does have the fountain. He hasn't been super awesome with those afterburns right now, but you know, Rona in the middle of your fight, if you get Rona into the position that she wants to be without her having to do it, she's just going to red mist and just decimate your lineup.
Thank you very much.
Exactly. She just absolutely decimated there. I Love Joseph pops the red mist and suddenly everybody on the roster of Gangstars dies. And actually you've got to look at the itemization for Gangstars right now. Very little defense. You can't afford to build that much defense when you're behind because you have to rely on your positioning or errors from the enemy to get you back into the game. If you build defense now, you just won't have the damage to compete with C9. But the problem is, if anybody gets into range of Rona, they're probably going to die. No real armor, or no real armor to speak of there for the carries on C9, especially for Koshka, who is going to be in range of Rona. Xenotech's going to get melted.
I mean, the items are starting to come together for Gangstars while they are on the back foot here. That's when a wild animal is most dangerous. Let's see what Xenotech, Rekt, and Iraqi can do. Iraqi with a fresh infusion. He does have 3 offensive items complete here as we're moving into the 13-minute mark of this game. Rekt taking the backs with his team. We see C9 closing down on them.
I really like what Iraqi has done here, obviously investing so heavily into offense, because I think the win condition is for Gangstars getting Iraqi stacked in a team fight, able to kite, and then turn around because the mobility has gone from C9. Gabe Vizzle should be working towards a pair of war treads now. That's going to make it harder for Gangstars to kite. I think right now C9 is staring down a very, very close game in which they end up picking up the championship point here.
Tough situations. Crystal Sentry will be going down. Xenotech even bought his own minion candy. A little bit off target with that gauntlet there, and Gabe Vizzle will be forgiven as he does land most of those. But C9, they're going to be missing a big tool for themselves. About 90-second cooldown there on that one.
But Gangstars don't want to engage, remember, so they can't really punish the gauntlet use, because obviously you don't want to jump straight into I Love Joseph, who is sitting on a lot of items right now. That's a lot for Rona. She's already got the Aegis, she's got a coat of plates working towards the breaking point. She's pretty scary at this point in time. Iraqi Zoro oversteps a little bit.
Yeah, Sonic Zoom backwards. Rekt is into the middle of this one. Rekt taking a lot of damage as that spin does come out, and they're locked in. Xenotech moves in, trying to get the damage, abusing the move speed that he currently has with the fountains out. They have no more healing. They're down. Scoundrel, they're dropping Xenotech back to the healing platform. So close from having the ace happen right in their base.
And look at the defensive itemization on both Old School and Joseph. Suddenly Xenotech is almost irrelevant in these fights. Steps there, it's like a real cat now, pouring at them, not really doing the damage necessary. C9 have played exemplary this entire series. They are the deserved winners. Can they close out this final game? Gangstars have got so much work to do to put themselves into a position where they can even compete at this level where C9 have put the game at. It's going to be so difficult here.
Ooh, C9 is just a nice edge. One more ace near the base here for Gangstars. It's going to be game over.
Yeah.
Right? You cannot afford to make one mistake right now if you're Gangstars, and what pressure does that put on you?
And look at what's happened right now. C9 know that if they bring Gangstars to them, that is exactly the kind of situation they want to fight in. And they're going to do it by starting up Kraken, and Gangstars might not have a choice here. They might have to go for a hero steal. I don't know if they can even risk fighting this right now, but if they let it go, they lose as well. It is a lose-lose situation. Rekt is making a hero play.
Rekt has to do it. Rekt, when the pressure's on, oh, and he's not even going to pull the trigger. Rekt is back? I mean, you see C9 here, 0.22 Kraken captures per match, not too many, but I mean, obviously enough. I mean, that's a crazy statistic.
Crazy for the wrong reason.
Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense, really.
I'm just going to ignore that, mate. Kraken barreling down the lane here, Humanist. We could be moments away for crowning.
You have to fight now. Gangstars know it. They're pulling the trigger. They're going. They're going to cancel off that gauntlet, doing a very good job. Is Wait For It going to come through. Connect. Huge stuns here. Old School trying to find the damage. Gabe Fizzle doing a good job to keep his team alive. And I Love Joseph melting targets. He jumps into the fray. Iraqi Zoro Sonic Zoom backwards. He's on the target. 349 damage. He's down. Gangstars are falling. Cloud9 are doing it. Cloud9 come in. Only one turret remaining. There's nothing. Xenotech against the world, and Xenotech knows he can't do it. This is the game. This is Cloud9 3-0 up. They are going to be your first unified champions here. How about a round of applause for Cloud9? Everybody had questions. They have answered with astounding performance.
Look at the emotion on their face, Humanist. This is the culmination of everything they have worked for, everything they were put together to achieve. Some of the best players in North America, some of the best players in the world. It is the deserved reward for everybody on that Cloud9 roster. They have outplayed their opponents left, right and center, and deserve to take the crown of the first unified Western Live Championships. And I cannot believe the fashion that they did it. This was a whitewash for Cloud9.
Absolutely insane performance here. I mean, Cloud9 coming in today, I heard more people saying that they thought Team Solo Mid would be going through. Cloud9 says, how about no to that? How about we're going to the finals? How about we're going to take it 3-0? I mean, Gangstar's still in their seat there. It's going to take a moment. That was a whirlwind.
Blink and you miss it. Blink and you miss that entire series. That was how good Cloud9 were. Commiserations to Gangstars. They had the performance of their careers at this championship. No one expected them to make it past the second day, let alone make it to the finals to compete for the crown. But Cloud9, I think, were the analysts' favorite. Cloud9, I think, were the spectators' favorite. And they have proven everything that everyone predicted to be true.
It was such an impressive performance. Like you said, Gangstars, you got to be proud of yourself. You find yourself second place here. Xenotech making it further than he's ever made it. I mean, Rekt, incredible performance, game after game, series after series. But Cloud9, you know, people had questions. They had the answers, and I don't know, like, what can we look forward to for the rest of this year if this is what they're doing here early on?
This was a roster put together to achieve greatness. This was a roster glued from some of the best players in their respective roles to achieve something that no other team could achieve at this level, and they have hit it on the head at their first shot.
Wham.
Right down.
Absolutely. And coming into this, it was like, okay, and we said on paper that this could be the most talented roster ever put together. I mean, we put together the spring intro video, and this is how, I mean, every team was you could look at it a certain way. And that's how everybody saw it. But the question was, do they come together?
We talked about it on paper. Let's take a chisel and get that into stone.
Let's get it into stone,
This is one of the best North American rosters we have ever seen. This is a North American roster that can compete on a world stage. The crown, the guard has changed. TSM, they're going to have to fight their way back from the shadows. C9 are the new kings on the block. And they are flying high in the clouds.
Flying high indeed. And you know, game 2, 8-0. Game 3, 11-1. It was shutout performances through these games.
They gave no inches to Gangstars. No, absolutely nothing.
And even when it felt like Gangstars were moving in to capitalize on an opportunity, it's almost as if Cloud9 had baited them into that, and they reverse it, finding the advantages, taking advantage of those opportunities. I am so incredibly impressed with what they've achieved here.
I think everybody is. A European,
you have to
North American,
you have to be.
Vainglory fans across the world have witnessed a masterclass in Vainglory. They have witnessed strategies, aggression, mechanics that no other team has achieved. This is just an example as well. These are some of the replays from this game. They played that Rona perfectly. They allowed Gangstars to do the work for them. And again, you may look at that as a Gangstars mistake, but C9 knew exactly how to exploit it. Sometimes winning a championship, sometimes winning a games isn't necessarily about making the best plays out of your own right. Sometimes it's about knowing when to punish your opponents for their mistakes. And C9, I think, have done that so excellently across this entire weekend, not only in this series, but across every series we have seen them play. It has been such a good performance from them. I cannot state that enough, how impressed I have been with this roster. They are the deserved champions. Absolutely, categorically, no way back. The new kings of Vainglory.
Ooh, you know, sometimes reactive play is almost more impressive than someone that's instigating the fights. And I think in that replay right there, we saw it happen. I'm so impressed. I mean, I said it before, but right now, guys, how about we go ahead and throw it down onto the stage with your first unified champions, Dan Gaskin. What do these guys have to say?
A round of applause, everyone, for our first unified champions! Wow. What a feeling this must be. What's going through your head right now, Gabe?
Just a bunch of excitement. I don't know what to say. I mean, it was a very intense match. Playing against our former teammates was definitely wild. But definitely big shout outs to our analysts, physics, and our coach, Wilmer, also our manager, Ian, also family, friends, all our supporters. I like to thank them a lot.
Now, coming into this event, did you think this was a realistic possibility? Did you think you would be lifting this trophy?
I think there was a very good chance that we would come to the championship and play the world's or the region's top teams. And I think our struggle was getting through semis with TSM. But after that, I think we were able to stay together and pull off a win for the finals.
I mean, you certainly looked fantastic. And actually, this win guarantees you a spot at the World Championships in 2017. Where do you go from here? How do you prepare for that?
I mean, we're going to take it one step at a time. Right now, we just won the Unified Championship, so I think we're going to take a little break and then start practicing for summer.
Well, I think we're done talking. I think it's about time you claimed your prize. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the first ever Unified Champions, Cloud9!
What a sight to behold. Cloud9, our first ever unified champions. They came in as the second seed, but they were here to upset the apple cart and prove themselves on the main stage. The very best team in the entire Western Hemisphere. I mean, I don't even want to break down their play. I feel like it would almost be an insult to them because it was near perfect.
It really was. I mean, it was just so good. I don't think we have seen play like this since the World Championship. And what a moment there for Old School and I Love Joseph, especially the first time they have ever been able to raise a trophy in a live event in Vainglory. It has got to feel good.
That has got to be the greatest moment of their life so far, raising that trophy high, and now they can go shake hands with the rest of the teams that have been playing in the tournament, and you're not going to wipe those smiles off their faces for years to come.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so great to see these guys just come together. You know, at the beginning of the season, like we said before, the team was built to be that #1 team. They were built to be the powerhouse team of North America, and, you know, everyone just assumed perhaps they'd be #2, but proving to be #1, what an amazing accomplishment. And, you know, me specifically, even just happy to see Old School finally claim a trophy after years of attending so many competitions and being so close. And now he's able to actually raise one above his head. One of my old teammates from back in the day, so proud to see him grow up over the years and claim his first title.
Uncle Fuji here.
Uncle Fuji.
Tears in the corners of his eyes. But honestly, a beautiful sight to see them raise that trophy. You know how much it means to them. We know how long they've been striving for this, and to see them finally have that to hold. And honestly, all three players had absolutely stellar performances, and we're happy to name our MVP for this one as well.